Welcome to the Players Ball Podcast for ATLiens by ATLiens. I'm your host, MB the Great. Alex the Great. Joined by my co-host, MB the Great. Oh man. How you living, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Just trying to get over a cold.
I have one at this point as well. Been doing a lot of socializing out in the streets. I was telling you, I went out. I had a busy weekend, so I had a date night with the wife on Friday. Saturday, we spent that like we had soccer in the morning, and then we did something in the afternoon, and then we pulled up to my in laws, and then we went out. Oh no, we went out Saturday. We took the kids to see. Oh, let's start there. Okay. Um, Went to the movies Friday. Saw Piece by Piece.
Hmm.
Have you seen the preview for that?
Nope, never heard of it.
So it's a Lego movie, but
Oh,
it
okay.
is the Pharrell biopic. Amazing. It was great. I mean, there are so many things that I learned about Pharrell that I didn't know. Right? Did you know he had ties to Timberland and Missy like way, way, way early?
Was that when he was with like Gym Class? Was it Gym Class Heroes? The name of that rock band?
No, no. This is even before that. This is like he met Pusha T in high school. Like
Oh,
Clips, they knew each other in high school, right? And he shortly after that, Teddy Riley from Blackstreet moved to Virginia and set up a studio, and he started working with Teddy Riley, and then ended up meeting Missy and Timberland, and he has this. It's a great story, right? You should check it out. The kids liked it. It probably wasn't as entertaining as like a Lego Batman movie, but it was good. Obviously, the music was top notch. I know we used to listen to a little bit of NERD, right?
oh, that's who I was thinking of. Not Gym Class Heroes, but
Yeah,
NERD.
yeah,
Yeah.
NERD, yeah. Yeah, so that's him, Chad, and one other guy. All of them are featured in there. Snoop is in it, Kendrick, Jay-Z, all as Legos. So
In
it was
I
dope.
actually did see a I didn't realize what I was watching at the time because I was half paying attention, but I think it was during the Georgia game on Saturday that I saw a little preview for it. Just I remember seeing all the celebrities as the little Lego figurines.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, as soon as you said Lego, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
I actually got like the last of his obviously he has a collector's item, right? The Lego set. I got the last one at Target, man. So it's sitting in the closet. I'm gonna sit on it for a while, see if I can flip it or whether I want to build it. Because I might want to build it. Last time you did something like that, some Legos. Your kids play with Legos?
They used to. I don't know how long ago it was. Less than a year. We had some that had been sitting on for a while. They're like little Star Wars. Forget what they call them, but they turn into little figurines, like big
Mm,
heads or something like that. I don't know. Um,
okay.
but yeah, he had a couple of those he started working on that I helped him out with. But
Yeah, we got a set of like the New York skyline that me and Brittany are supposed to be putting together because the kid they love Legos. They're frequently requested gifts. So yeah, but yeah, Piece by Piece was good. Saturday we went out to a bar. We went to the bar. Did you go to our 10-year reunion
mm-mm.
at Dark Horse Tavern? Oh man, it was a good time. But that bar is fire. It's like three separate levels. We went there Saturday and then Sunday. We went to a Mexican restaurant, watched the game, and we finished the weekend off with an Anderson .Paak concert. So there's a lot of mixing and mingling, a lot of germs out there in the streets, man. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's what they say, man. It's crazy because I think I told you as we were signing off last week that I wasn't feeling great. Um, but it like came on right after we we recorded the last podcast, and I mean, it took me out, son. The next day, I was dead. I was running a fever. Uh, felt like complete garbage. Went to the doctor, got some meds. Been recovering since.
Do you know what it was? You have the
No,
vid?
no, it was just some viral infection. They said no COVID, no flu, no strep.
That's these folks don't know. They know nothing, Jon Snow. Yeah. Well, it was a good weekend in sports, man. I didn't get to watch as much college this weekend. Like I know the Oregon Ohio State game was supposed to be must watch. Looked like it was must watch as far as how close the score was.
they
Um,
they had like 8 lead changes in that game. It was nuts. Uh,
yeah,
Definitely lived up to the hype. Now it was in Eugene, so I do think Oregon, naturally, home team had a little bit of an advantage. So, um,
yeah,
not sure how that game would have turned out on a neutral field.
yeah. Well, maybe we'll find out because they both appear to be playoff bound, right?
They do, and believe the Big Ten operates the same now as the SEC, where it's divisionless, and it's just going to
Mm,
be the top 2 teams for the Big Ten championship. So, if the rest of the schedule pans out the way I believe most people think it will, then there's a good chance that you see them again in the Big 12 or Big 10 title game, Big 10 title.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so Oregon is in the Big Ten, not the Big 12.
No, Oregon and UCLA and USC, a bunch of West Coast teams joined the Big Ten this year. This is their
Got
first year. They
it.
were part of the dismantling of the Pac-12.
Yeah, I thought they went Pac-12 to Big 12, but no, I was just wrong.
Some teams did. So, like Arizona, I believe, uh, maybe Arizona State, Colorado. Those
Mm,
teams went Pac-12 to Big 12. But
got it.
the big market teams, the USC's, the uh, um, Oregon's, they landed in the Big Ten.
Another game, not local that I checked the score, but I didn't get to watch it. Like they put up a pretty good fight. Was Colorado K State, one
Yeah,
of their first ranked opponents?
I ended up falling asleep during that game. Man, that game came on at like 10:15 or something
Yeah,
crazy. And I told you I'm getting over the cold, so I fell asleep. I tried my hardest to stay up and watch that game, and I passed out. It looked like Colorado played pretty well. I did see Travis Hunter leave the game. He left pretty early. They haven't really said much about his injury, but
mm,
that's a big blow. Obviously, they need him healthy to give them
yeah,
the best chances at success. I saw Shador got sacked like 6 times, 6 more times, something crazy. Um,
yeah.
Kid's taking a beating. I don't know if he's going to be left, like any part of his body's going to be left for the pros the way he gets banged up. Um,
What's wild is that he does take those hits, but he still, goes crazy. Like he went just looking at his stat line right now, 34 for 40 for 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick.
Oh yeah. If he played at a school that had well I'm assuming that his sacks are because of poor offensive line play and not, you know, him
Hold on to
holding
the
the
ball too
ball.
long. Yeah,
Yeah, or trying to scramble and not getting away. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does at a bigger school or in the pros, right? Behind a professional offensive line.
well, there's some scrubby offensive lines in the pros too.
Yeah.
Cleveland is trash. Jaguars line is trash. The Raiders line is trash. Just from what I've seen, like I've been trying to pick up defenses that are playing those teams. But yeah, nah, you gotta land in the right spot. I saw that he was talking to not Al Michaels, who's on the Raiders.
Al Davis.
Yeah, Shador was talking to Al Davis, and he was like, "Hey, you might be home already." I don't remember why he was in Vegas, right? But he threw him a little pitch, like, "Hey, man, come on in."
I think it's a good fit for him.
Yeah,
A lot of flair in that city.
it's Vegas, baby. Right. But circling back to local, man, you got Coach Curb, man. What's going on with this guy? He's pushing kids, slapping babies.
Definitely not slapping babies.
he, he's on one. What's going on with your man's, bro?
Yeah, so he went viral for a sideline incident where the Mississippi State quarterback happens to be right in the line of fire, and Kirby's heated. I mean, he is blowing steam. Everyone thought he was going after the ref. He clarified that he was actually trying to get to Glenn Schumann, who was standing right there, to get a personnel change. Apparently, sideline, it's frantic, chaotic, whatever synonyms you want to use. And you have a very short period of time that you're able to make personnel changes. So he's rushing over to get to Glenn Schumann, try to get his attention, get the personnel change done. And in the process, the Mississippi State quarterback, who's gone out of bounds on that sideline, crosses paths with Kirby, and he full on shoves him out of the way. I don't think there's any excuse for what transpired. Like, it should have been a flag, right? That should have been unsportsmanlike conduct, 15-yard penalty, But I in no way, shape, or form think that Kirby ever meant any ill intent. I honestly don't even think he registered in his brain that was the Mississippi State quarterback at the time of the incident, right?
Yeah.
He has since said that because someone brought it to his attention during the post game. They asked him about it, and he was like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." So he went back and saw it, and he said he called Mississippi State's head coach and talked to him and apologized, and actually talked to the quarterback that he shoved and apologized and made amends. So I definitely don't think there was any ill intent there, but for sure, I think the refs gave him a little too much grace.
Gave him a pass. Yeah.
Yeah, he got lucky that they didn't get penalized. Now there's a bunch of crazy people online, talking about how Kirby needs to be suspended for the remainder of the year, and a lot of people are giving him a lot of flack over it, understandably. And the ones that kill me are the ones that want to tie in the off-field issues that the players have had with.
So they're all hotheads driving Chargers and running over people. That's crazy. I mean, I told you, I say it a lot, man. There is a vitriol around the nation for Georgia sports, whether that's the Braves, the Falcons, or the Dogs, man. People do not want to see us succeed. And question for you: who is Schumann?
Glenn
That
Schumann's
is
a DC defensive coordinator.
for Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was about to yell at him or what?
Yeah, so in his words, he was trying to get Schumann's attention to make a personnel change.
Got it. Okay.
Which he also claims that last week, so the week prior against Auburn, that they were in a similar situation and they didn't get the personnel change, and it ended up like they were in the wrong personnel and they got taken advantage of defensively. So he was already hyper sensitive to that and was not going to allow that situation to reoccur. So that was a little bit added juice to the situation. But Kirby will be the first to tell you that it's pandemonium, I think is the exact phrasing he used on the sidelines during a game.
No, I mean, I can see that, right? That makes sense. And I'm not mad at him for pushing the player like that. This is football, right? He didn't attack him. He just kind of pushed him out of the way. He wasn't even looking at him. So when I was looking at the video, that's what I saw. And obviously, he's a good sport. He apologized. He talked to the kid. So sometimes you get pushed, man. as long as
Yeah.
as long as somebody comes back and apologizes, right? I don't have an issue with it. I did hear that Greg Sankey said that there's not going to be any additional repercussions. That it should have been a flag, but that would have been it.
Yeah, absolutely. It should have been a flag. And like I said, Georgia's fortunate that they didn't call it. I don't know that it would have changed the outcome of the game, but it should have been a flag. And all the haters out there that are coming at Kirby for his job and want to tie in, all this off-field stuff. It's like you said, it's vitriol against Georgia and Georgia teams. I think beyond anything else, when you're at the top, everyone wants to see you fall. And Georgia's been on the top more than they've been on the
Heavy is the
bottom.
head and wears the crown. There was another interesting thing that I saw related to Georgia that I didn't see until this week, but apparently it happened after the Georgia Alabama game. That Nick Saban texted Kirby and said, "This is the best thing that probably could have happened to you."
Yeah, I mean, Nick and Kirby have a great relationship. Kirby worked for Nick for 14 years, right? Like,
Yeah. Hmm.
they're close, and Kirby has tremendous amount of respect for Nick, and vice versa. And so I fully believe that they're in constant communication, and just to hear Nick, give some reassurance, I guess, or some assurance to Kirby, saying, "Look, you guys can take this and really use it for the better." I'm with it, and I think I told you in a previous conversation that I feel like this could be a turning point, and that this team will be much better moving forward. Now they haven't really played a whole lot better in the two
Defense
weeks.
definitely has. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this team definitely has some issues. It'll be interesting. This is a big week for them, right? They're going into Austin this weekend, facing off against the number 1 Texas Longhorns, which I found out it's a place Kirby has never gone. He's
Yeah.
never played in Austin, which is pretty crazy considering the amount of years he's been coaching and the different teams that he's coached for. But it's going to be a big task, and they're going in as an underdog. It's a position that they, as a program, haven't found themselves in very often in the last 3 to 5 years. I don't have a tremendous amount of confidence going into the game, just to be honest, with the way that we have played inconsistent. And Texas has been the polar opposite. They've been consistent. They've been good in all 3 phases. Kirby talked about it in his press conference. They're good on offense. They've played great on defense. They're good on special teams. And we have played good in some areas at some times, but haven't put it all together yet. So
Yeah.
it's gonna take a tremendous game from everybody to pull it off. I think on the road in Austin.
I mean, this is the week where they can really put everybody on notice. Like, no, we are still the top. We were top dog, right? They lost to Alabama, but they showed that they had some fight in them. And so I think there was still some respect gained for them. No moral victories. I know how we get down, but they can go into Texas and knock them off. I think that'd be huge. They definitely need to have a good showing, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, I think there's no question whether or not this team is going to go in and fight. Like you said, they proved in Tuscaloosa that no matter what happens, they're not going to give up. They're not going to lay down, but they're going to have to execute at a much higher level than they've executed thus far this season if they're going to go into Austin and pull the upset.
Yeah, because Texas looks like they look like the number 1 that they are positioned that right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the teams that are dominant right now, that really, I think, have a clear path to the playoffs and will be in the conversation when it comes down to the Final Four, you have Texas, Oregon, and Ohio State. Those are really the only three dominant teams. We thought Alabama was going to be one of those teams coming out of that Georgia game, but then they go on the road and lose to Vanderbilt. And then at home, they played a stinker against South Carolina last week. So they were lucky to escape with the W there.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just looking at Texas's wins.
Dominant.
And letting off a whole lot of points, man. Yeah, dominant. Yeah.
Now, I don't know that they've played anyone of the caliber of Georgia. You know, they played against a Michigan team that I fully believe is not nearly as good as most probably projected them to be going into this year, coming off a championship. Trying to think who else they've really played that's really had some tough competition, and I can't really think of any off the top of my head. But they've won every game convincingly. They've won every game in dominant fashion. I think they played Mississippi State, who Georgia just played, and they struggled for a quarter or for a half. Or I mean, it wasn't the blowout out the gate that people are used to with Texas and probably expected. But either way, at the end of the day, they got the dominant win.
And their defense looked like they held up really well as well, right? They were 13-35 in that game, whereas Georgia let them put up 31.
Yeah,
So,
the majority of that was second half points. You know, going into the third quarter, I think Georgia was up 35-10 or something like that. And then and then they let Mississippi State crawl back into that game. They took care of business. It wasn't without error. I mean, they let up some big plays, some busted coverages. Now, I did watch some game film today with my boy Brooks Austin, and I did feel a lot more encouraged about the defensive performance. You know, there are teaching moments, obviously, because there were busted coverages and explosive plays, but in general, there's a few players that have really stood out. The defensive line play in general was very good. It's the linebackers, safeties, and corners that they need to get it together.
Yeah, big plays are a big problem. You know who big plays are not a big problem for right now? Them Dirty Birds, man. Boy, did we rise up yesterday. That was the type of win that I really wanted to see. I didn't like how close it was at halftime, but all in all, that was a dominant performance, and I'm ready for the Falcons to continue on that track. What did you think of the game yesterday? Did you watch?
Yeah, I watched, and frankly, I was fairly disappointed going into. I want to say it was like the fourth quarter when it was still a pretty tight one-score game. It was right before, I believe it was AJ Terrell got an interception, and we were able to turn around and score and go up by 2 scores. And from that moment, it was like pretty much like knockout punch after knockout punch. We took all the wind out of the Panthers' sails and kind of rode them into the ground, got a multi-possession victory for the first time this year. So all in all, at the end, I was happy with the way we played down the stretch, but I did not like the fact that we were allowing them to stay in that game. I thought we were going to come down to another nail biter. It felt that way, right? Up until that turning point, it felt like this was just going to be, another coup field goal at the end of the game, or having to make a stop on a final drive to secure the dub.
I'll tell you why I was encouraged, right? Defense played a good first half. They let Andy Dalton, for whatever reason, we are the team that quarterbacks want to look like. Everyone wants to look like Michael Vick against the Falcons. Andy Dalton had like a 30-yard run. Right. The end of the first half, defense was playing good. You mentioned AJ Terrell. He was getting roped up by Deontay Johnson, like left and right. So that was frustrating. But they scored that touchdown right at the end of the half. I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. But from there, I think the defense came out and they they had a good stop. They did have that interception, and from there they pretty much held it down. Right. So I thought that was encouraging. The run game. Now I've been telling you about these two running backs, man. I think Marshawn Lynch said over and over and over and over and over and over running at somebody's face, man. It's gonna wear them down. By the end of the game, the Panthers look tired. Now I know they're missing their best defensive player. Um, we ran it down their throats, and that's what I want to see, right? To have a 509 passing game the week before, and then to have, I think Bichon was 5 yards short of 100, but to have him and Tyler both either go over or touch it is great. That's definitely what we want to see.
Yeah, we definitely were more balanced yesterday.
Mhm.
Run pass. I I am encouraged, right? The offense looks to be clicking. We proved the 509 game wasn't just a fluke, right? This team is finding some rhythm. Now, one thing that I would have liked to see is, we forced a quick 3-and-out to start the game, and we got the ball, and we went nowhere offensively. And that is something that we've done much better in the previous couple weeks, and that's taking the ball on our first possession and driving down the field and scoring. And it was disappointing not to have that, but at the end of the day, move the ball effectively. Both our running backs nearly eclipsed 100 yards. I think as a team we rushed for over 200. Raheem gave the game ball to the entire offensive line, so that's just a microcosm of how the game went in general and how he felt about their play. So I mean, if we can continue to run the ball effectively, we're going to be able to pass the ball effectively. Defensively, we gotta get some more pressure. We gotta tighten some things up. I refrained from texting you on several scenarios where AJ Terrell was getting cooked.
We were thinking about each other, man, just because I was at that same point, like, man, I know I'm gonna text Matt right now and tell AJ Terrell don't deserve that money.
But then he got that interception towards the end of the game, so he did have a little bit of redemption. I will
Net
say,
positive.
yeah. He's a pretty good tackler, so that is a plus to his game. I just coverage wise, I think it was their first touchdown. It was man coverage on AJ and no shot. He had no shot.
He looked outclassed. He looked completely outclassed on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was alarming. I do like that they use both backs like in ideal situations. Like they were getting Bijan in space. Both his touchdowns, they were like, all right, we're gonna get him outside and let him work. Give him a solid blocker out there, and he's gonna score. And he did that both times. Whereas with Tyler Algier, he had some runs up the middle where he was just banging people's chests, and running through and over people. So I was encouraged about that. We're not getting sacks. It's the Falcons' calling card. Have a weak defensive pressure on the front, and I don't know what we do about that. they can double team Matthew Judon. They're basically doing that every play. I don't know what to do. Right? Why don't we have a pass rush? I know one of our rookies that got hurt. He was supposed to be one of the solutions. Um, Out of Washington, I can't think of his name right now, but he was supposed to be
Pierce.
a big help. No, not Pierce.
Uh, s-
Um,
s-
Trice,
Trace,
Braylon Trice.
Trice, Braylon Trice.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, yeah. He was supposed to be because he like led the college football in sacks last year. So no, he was supposed to be a big part of it, but Lorenzo Carter doesn't look like he's the guy, for lack of a better term. Um, Arnold Ebiketie, who knows? I don't even know if he plays at this point. I have seen a little bit more of Rook Orororo, but he's an interior lineman, so he's just a run stopper. He's not back there to get sacks. Who I like a lot is Mike Hughes. We talked about Mike Hughes. Mike Hughes is a solid tackler. He didn't connect or he didn't land it, but he definitely got back there and disrupted the quarterback at one point this game. We just need somebody to put the quarterback on the ground, man. And that's probably the most frustrating part of what we're doing because we drafted all of these linemen, all of these supposed defensive stalwarts on the line. It doesn't seem like any of them are playing, or the ones that are playing aren't doing very much. Like JD Bertrand, I know he got his first start last week, but he didn't look to do very much this week.
Yeah, I think Nate Landman returned, and I believe
Yeah,
what's the
Troy.
Troy Anderson? He'll be coming
Yeah,
back. So the defense definitely has some help coming, but I don't know
yeah.
that that's really going to manifest in sacks or pressures. Uh, but I don't know. Hassan Reddick. I mean, that's the name I think that's out there that is available. I don't know how. Um, I don't know if it's even possible to land Hassan, but he hasn't played all year, so you don't even know what you'd get from him, even if you were to manage to pull that off.
Adam Schefter, or one of the insiders, talked to his agent, and he said that he really wants to be a Jet for the rest of his life. So I think they're content on getting the deal done with him. I don't know that he's leaving at this point, unless it's the piece that must be had for Devontae Adams type situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when you read that story or heard that quote, but Hassan has changed agencies and is now represented by Drew Rosenhaus.
Mm,
So I don't know if that lends credence to what you're saying or not, but I do know that he did have a change in representation. So
yeah, the headline for the article was Jets Hassan Reddick hires new agent in attempt to resolve lengthy holdout.
mm,
But that was the quote, that he wanted to be a Jet.
gotcha. Well, the Falcons got to do something, man. It may not come this year. It may have to be a little bit development. Arnold Ebiketie is definitely on the field, by the way. Even if it's not showing up in the
He's the
sack
invisible
sheet,
man.
in the sack sheet. But all in all, good showing for the Birds. A W's a W. They're 3-0 in the division. They're well on their way. I think you win one or two more, and you can pretty much secure up the division. The Tampa Bay Bucks look like they're going to be the most formidable opponent, with the
Yeah.
Saints, behind them. We still got to go to their places, right? We get the
Mhm.
Panthers at home, but we got to go to Tampa. We got to go to New Orleans. So you got to at least split those two, I think.
Yeah. For Tampa, I feel like we gotta beat them down there. Feels like the division's gonna be close enough for that. We play a tough Seattle team coming up this weekend, so we need to win that. But winning that next division game in Tampa, because I think that's the week after, is gonna be big.
Now,
Gonna be
do we
big.
go to Seattle or do they come to us?
They're here. We got a home game this week,
All right, that
which
makes
is vastly advantageous. It's a
for
lot better than
sure.
going up there.
That 12th man is no joke.
hmm
Um,
And unlimited drugs, right? Drugs are all legal up there, so who knows? The fans are jacked up on the meths or whatever, man. I don't know what the 12 gets down on, but they got a lot of energy, a lot of noise, man.
how you feeling about this matchup?
I think it's definitely winnable. AJ Terrell's he got an even bigger task ahead of him this week, right? Deontay Johnson is good. He is no DK Metcalf. I mean, DK is a man amongst boys out there. He's just a big, fast dude. And he's bullying people. He's getting mad. He's wanting the ball more.
So I would put, I know this is a stretch, but I would compare, at least in stature and kind of what they're attempting to do, DK and Xavier Leggett,
Mm,
who we just faced. And Leggett had a pretty solid game against the Falcons.
yeah,
Deontay Johnson, I would say, is no Tyler Lockett either. So if it is DK or Tyler Lockett matched up against AJ, he's going to have his hands full.
yes, he is.
And then, you said every quarterback wants to turn into Michael Vick against Atlanta. Well, Geno Smith isn't
Gino,
no slouch.
he
So
is not.
I think the keys to the game will be, can we contain Geno, keep him from hurting us with his legs? And then when it comes to the receivers, it's that bend don't break mentality. A stat that I don't know if it still holds true, but going into Carolina, the Falcons had the lowest number of plays over 20 yards against them. So they weren't giving
Mm,
up explosive plays. I don't feel like we gave up a lot of explosive plays against Carolina. I'd have to go back and look at the tape to really see if that's true. But that just means that we're keeping most everything in front of us. We have really bent, not broke, a
yeah,
lot this year. So I'm encouraged by that. And then offensively, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. I think being at home is a huge plus. Kirk Goes chains, vibing
we're
with the
gonna get the
city.
swag surf a little bit.
Yeah, becoming a true Atlantean.
Yeah, man. We didn't talk about it a whole lot last week, but because we were talking about Matty Ice's ring of honor. But yeah, Kurt out there with that swag surf was crazy. And then that Waffle House interview, man. You sent that to me. That was just hilarious. Right? It was very fitting.
Oh yeah,
He's
he
been adopted to the city. He's an ATLien now, man. You gotta start listening to the pod if he hasn't already.
so his wife, she's a true ATLien, grew up here, went to high school here. I believe went to Centennial High School.
Mm,
Not too far from where we grew up. And she's a UGA alum, so a lot of ties to the city for the Cousins family. I believe his sons were born here. At least one of them was born here.
yeah, I think they were born
Uh,
here.
a lot of, I think, what went into Kurt's decision to come here was his familiarity with the city from living at his in-laws during the off season, and her and their family being from here. So he's really seemed to embrace being here. The team has seemed to really embrace him,
The
and
city at this point
and
has embraced Kirk for sure.
as long as he keeps winning, the city will will embrace him.
his his first interception that caused us to lose. He's back out in the trash.
Yeah.
Very, very fickle fan base, man. Right. But winning does cure all. If you get the wins, we're gonna show up and show out. So yeah, man. I'm excited about where the Falcons are headed. There's definitely a lot to clean up, but 4-2 ain't a bad start to the schedule that we started off with.
We haven't won 3 straight games since 2016, and we just accomplished that feat. So, I would say we are on the rise, and it's been fun. It will continue to be fun as long as this train doesn't derail, which I don't see any reason for it, right? Like, obviously, the season's unpredictable. If it was predictable, why play the games? But from a talent standpoint, from what this team is trying to do, what it's shown that it can do, right? Like, we should find ourselves as a NFC playoff team, right?
Yeah.
And once you get there, we said it in baseball, it still holds true in football. Any given Sunday, once you get in, anything can happen, and we could ride a hot hand all the way to the Super Bowl. It is possible.
A home game will really help that. A home playoff game, man, I know it would be. Oh man, this the city, the stadium specifically, the city would be on fire if
Yeah,
they can make that happen, and I think they can if we beat the Bucks.
for sure.
Um, okay, yeah, we got another team that has started up. They actually played again tonight, their second preseason game. Them Hawks, man, because Atlanta is a basketball city according to Ice Trey. So, did you get to see any of the highlights for that first preseason game?
I haven't. I've heard that Ice has been doing Ice Tray things, right? He's been balling.
Hmm.
I hear Zachary Rishacher has been fitting the bill so far of a number one. So
Yes, he has.
all really exciting. I mean, it's preseason, so I don't really know how much you can uh, take away from the games. I did see that Mr. Bronny James Jr. has some very unfortunate stats where the opposing teams have scored an absurd amount of points when he's on the floor. uh, but I can't say I've been really paying a whole lot of attention to the preseason basketball.
So it looks like that their second game is today. They've been playing it. I wanted to see if the lineup was going to change, and it didn't. So this looks like it's going to be the starting five: Trey Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter, and Clint Capella. Now they had Zachary Shea come off the bench. He went 7 for 9 for 18 points in 22 minutes, right? And that some of that was against some backups, but some of it was against starters.
That's pretty
Um,
efficient.
very efficient, very efficient. Tonight he is the leading scorer right now with 14 points, and they're through the third. But it is that same lineup: DeAndre Hunter, Dyson Daniels, Clint Capella, Trey, and Jalen Johnson. I don't know. I was really hoping that maybe there was a little more to do. And I feel like you said, like, nah, they're done. They ain't doing nothing else. The Hawks, like, and I said that the Braves were done. They ain't doing nothing else. I don't really want DeAndre Hunter on the squad,
I don't
and
mind
I
him
don't know
being
what
on
to
the
feel about that.
squad. I'm a little. So I heard him talk about it on the radio, and I really wish this wasn't the case, but them Benjamins talk. But what was said was DeAndre would be starting, and it's because of the salary that he currently possesses.
Mm,
Now, the thought, and I agree with it, is DeAndre Hunter did much better last year for us coming off the bench. And I
as a reserve,
believe
yeah.
that is the proper role for him if he's going to maintain his status on the team. Why draft Risha if you're going to use him as a reserve as the number one overall pick, right?
Hmm.
And I really think those roles should be reversed, right? It should be Risha starting and Hunter coming off the bench. But I don't know the figure because I don't follow basketball all that much. But what is DeAndre Hunter, a $30 million a year player? And
I don't think it's that high, but
it's pretty
it is high.
significant. It's significant. And what they were saying on the radio, which seems to be the case, is
32.
yeah. So you're not gonna have a 32 million a year player coming off the bench. And I think that's stupidity. That's right. Like, okay, you gave him the contract. He's not living up to it. So you're just gonna force him into a role that he doesn't fit because that's what the money says you should do. Like,
Mid-20s is where he's at. So this year he'll earn 21. Next year he'll be 23. Next year he'll be the year after that it'll be 24, 25 really.
but either way, right? Like, it seems pretty stubborn and ignorant to run a ball club that right. You
Yeah, I'm
put
with you.
you put whoever's going to give you the best opportunity to win on the court, field, whatever. It shouldn't be about how much you're paying them, right? Like,
Right.
you made a bad deal. You have bad contracts on your roster. That doesn't mean you gotta keep playing them. Cut them loose.
He To me, he's a lot like I put him in a very similar boat to Mr. Kyle Pitts in that I've seen the flashes, I've seen the potential, but it doesn't look like it's working out. And I would rather, give them a shot to succeed somewhere else and bring in something of value to the home team. The other name is, Clint Capella. I like Clint Capella. I think Clint's a very solid player. But either O is the guy or he's not, and it doesn't seem like he is. I don't think he played today. Yeah, he didn't play today.
Double O is so young though. That's the only thing that I would hold on to when it comes to Onyeka is, he came into this league at like 18, 19 years old.
Right.
So he's still extremely young, and you see flashes. I just don't think he's a center, right? I think he's a power forward, and I just think you have a log jam at this point at that position. It's kind of holding him back. But I'm with you on your Kyle Pitts analogy. I will say that for Kyle, I think it's a lot different in that Kyle's still on a rookie deal, right? You haven't re-signed him.
Yeah.
You gave him his option, so he did get an extra year, but he has been fairly productive the last 2 weeks. He's not putting up touchdowns. There are some things on the field that kind of irk me. There was a play in the end zone where he gave up, like he just stopped his route, and they
That
even
was right.
call
Yeah, I
they
remember
they
seeing that.
they called him out on the broadcast, and stuff like that that really will piss you off. But he has been a lot more productive these last 2 weeks. I still think right now he brings a lot of value. Um, DeAndre Hunter, on the other hand, he brings value, but you signed him to be a defensive stalwart, and his defensive game has dropped off since the injuries, and
Yeah.
he's never been a consistent offensive player. He'll break out and have fantastic scoring nights, but he's never in his career done anything consistently. And you paid him all that money, and now you're kind of sitting here, I guess, starting him because you feel like you have to, but I don't think he brings to the table what you're giving him.
It's such a manager like decision, right? To start him because of the money. It would do you more service, even selfishly, right? If you put the most winning situation out there. And I mean, if we drafted Zachary Ricochet with number one overall pick, he's gonna be a part of the future of this franchise. You want him playing with the current face of the franchise as much as possible, right? And to the point that you made earlier, DeAndre Hunter did have a lot of success off the bench. Just because you're coming off the bench doesn't mean you can't get starter minutes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see where they go. I am excited about the Hawks. I thought they were going to do a little bit more. They did not. We'll see what this year shakes out to. If anything, Trey is going off. We got a fantasy basketball league. I'm sure Trey will be a top 5 pick in that league just because of the number. He's going to put up gaudy numbers, bro, because there's no one else that's going to be able to help him.
Yeah. So not to toot my own horn, but you said during baseball season, right? The Braves were done, and they made a few moves, and I said that I thought there was at least some small moves that they were going to make, and that came true. You said the Hawks
No,
weren't going
we covered this.
to.
I already said this. Look, you
But
said they were going to make moves. They did not.
they they did.
I said they were going to make moves. They did not.
I did say that they were going to make some small moves, and they did. They brought in Jorge Soler.
I was saying after that, I said they're not going to do anything different. You were talking about making this push for the playoffs and that they can still do stuff with players on waivers and all that. I'm like, man, AA is done. He's not.
They
Gonna
brought
do
in
Gio
Gio Urshela. They brought in Whit Merrifield. They brought in Kevin Biggio. They did stuff. Some of it was out of necessity because they had injuries they had to fill.
Yeah, Austin Riley.
But they did some. We've got it all recorded, so we can check the tape. But I was gonna give you some credit because today they did re-sign Krejcik.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
That ain't doing nothing. No, I know there's the NBA is the Euro League West now. Did you? So there's a poll that came out, right? The top 5 players in the league, or it said top 10. Every one of the top 5 is an international player.
Hmm. Where's your boy?
You can name him. Who's that?
LeBron.
7, I think.
Okay. I mean, you got Joker.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Greek Freak.
That's 1, 2.
Was I don't know who 3, 4, and 5 are.
Luca Magic.
Oh yeah,
right?
Luca. Yeah, that makes
Luca's
sense.
there. Embiid is there, and 5, who I don't like his game. I won't take anything away
Tyrese.
from. Nah, Shea. Shea Gilgeous.
SGA.
He's Canadian.
Man, I think SGA is a baller.
Yeah, everyone does. It's just me. I don't like his game at all. Like watching him, I'm like, bad decision.
Where's the local
Nope,
kid?
shouldn't have did that. Ant-Man, I think he was top 10. I think he was 10.
Yeah, so I was thinking Embiid, but like I don't like Embiid's game. He's just
Embiid is a monster, bro.
Big and gets hurt a lot.
He said something that was interesting today, saying that the way that his career has gone with the injuries, he may never play in a back-to-back again.
That's something I think the NBA, from a product standpoint, if you're the commissioner, you got to figure something out, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you wanted to purchase tickets to see Kobe or Braun or somebody playing in Atlanta and they sit out? They're a healthy scratch. That's not a good look for a business, right? Trying to stay marketable and appeal to a mass audience, right? That's how you really quickly alienate your money makers.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It wasn't last year, but the year before, I bought tickets to the Lakers. Wanted to take Grayson to see LeBron, and my man didn't even play. Didn't even fly with the team, right? He's just out. Late scratch. I wouldn't have bought it if I would have known he was out.
Yeah.
Only because the Lakers they want a premium price for that ticket. I'm like, all right. I mean, you get the price for LeBron James, not for street clothes.
Or Russell.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, Ant-Man was 10.
Okay, so
Kevin
he
Durant
made.
was 9, LeBron was 8, Jason Tatum 7, Steph Curry 6.
I was gonna say they better not leave my boy Chef off there.
Yeah, nah, you can't. I think they're in for a good year too. They had Wemby up at 12 already.
That's crazy. So, I want to ask you this question. It's kind of non-George. It's non-Atlanta related, but you brought it to my attention a couple weeks ago. It's still basketball related, and it hits close to your heart because this is who you wanted to see flying high for the Hawks. But Zach Edey.
You dirty. Yeah, man. To see Zach Edey in a 3-point contest, even exhibition, and knocking down threes on a consistent basis was very frustrating because I knew he could do it. Right, that's what they were saying. That was what's going to limit his games. That he's just pure big man. He's not going to be able to pull anybody outside. He can't work in the modern NBA. And I was like, no, this kid is very good. He's going to be an instant contributor. Now he's going to be out there with Ja Morant. If he wins Rookie of the Year, I'm not surprised. I will call it right now. He's set up for a lot of success. If Ja Morant stays healthy, Zach Edey is going to go crazy.
There was a funny quote, I think, when he was asked about his shooting prowess. And he basically responded like, I told people I could shoot. I just never had to do it in a game scenario because it's not the way I
Yeah.
was utilized. But he's like, you could see I could shoot from the free throw line.
You know, right? I mean, he had all these analysts just saying that he would be a terrible pick. The Grizzlies did their homework, got him at 8. I would have reached for him at this point, right? He's gonna be very good, dog, and he would have fit very well with Trey Young. I think Ricochet is gonna work out very well, but Zach Edey's gonna be crazy. Another rookie I saw that looks like he's gonna be pretty good is Stephon Castle with the Spurs. I think the Spurs. I don't think they make the playoffs, but they're gonna be a lot better this year with Chris Paul and Stephon Castle on there with Wemby. He finally has some serviceable teammates, so we'll see how they do. But man, I think Memphis is gonna be really good if because I saw already that Ja Morant um, got shut down for like the second half because he's a real athletic dude. Like my man can jump out the gym, but he landed that he hurt his ankle. He's not built like a Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is a full on he's a giant muscle. Like he's wired. His body is built to take all the leaps and jumps and landings and bumping into people. John Moran is not super athletic. He's just not built for that. He reminds me a lot of Derrick Rose, right? Like just you know explosive, but is your body gonna hold up?
Yeah, I think Ja Morant has a CTE, man. That boy is a head case, but he is a baller.
Put the guns down, John. Put the guns down. Oh
Uh,
yeah, man. For him to make that mistake twice, boy, trying to blow the check, man, just giving a bag away. Not even just a bag. Like he was on track to be like one of the faces of the league. He's that good, making mistakes like that. But I hope he's put all the guns away. Um,
got some
and
better
that he can stay
influences
healthy.
around him.
Yeah, yeah, man. I just got to cut your friends off when you get a little money. I mean, ideally not, but everybody don't know how to act, man. Yeah, and if you ruining things for me and the family, man, I gotta let you go. Right? I want you to be a part of this. It's not working out.
Yeah. unfortunately, our boy Michael Vick had to learn that the hard way as well, and it's an all too common occurrence with professional athletes. They have a group that they ride and die with growing up that
Yeah.
don't have their best interests at heart, unfortunately.
Hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, it seems like that was a part of Aaron McNair's story too, right? Like his security guard was like his partner from college, and it was just this money thing. And I don't think that he was tied to the hitter, but it's just a weird case, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned Michael Vick. There was another Falcon, and I think we can close on this. There was another Falcon that we talked about last week, and I went back and did some research. I was like, man, why am I still mad at Jet Jones, man? What did he say again? And he said, "Oh, I'm out of there, man." Right? And he did. And you had made the point that you thought he was on like a call where he didn't even. I don't think he knew he was on TV.
Was it Shannon Sharp he was talking to? Yeah.
Shannon Sharp called him on First Take with Skip Bayless. And I think it might have been Molly. I don't know if it was Molly, but it was a woman in the background. She's like, "Does he know he's on the phone?"
Hmm.
And no one said anything. Just let me talk to him. Boom. So I'm out of there, man. Um,
Yeah, it was dirty.
well, it has been a long time. I think the statute of limitations is up on that. So let's let bygones be bygones. I think he is the second up for Ring of Honor, man. He did a lot of good things here. Um, so you know, I ain't heard from him since. I don't even know if he's interested, right? But I think considering the way he said it was like, oh yeah, that's why I was mad. Like, oh no, hell no, I don't mess with the Falcons no more. Let's be with that. Um, but I guess that wasn't. And looking back, it seems smaller now.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because on the outside looking in, like we have no idea what was said behind closed doors, but
Hmm.
it seemed like the franchise gave him everything he could ever want and more. They pandered to his wants and needs and desires financially, and it just seemed like a slap in the face at the time for him to come and be so dismissive towards the franchise. Um, but hopefully that's water under the bridge. I don't know what he's doing these days, right? Like he's played for a couple teams since and really wasn't successful at any of them. Barely saw the field for most of them, and he just kind of
Yep.
fizzled out, And he was a quiet guy, so he probably likes it that way. Probably not taking too many phone calls from Shannon Sharp anymore.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he has no love for the media at this point. He didn't like him before. My man never did interviews or anything, right? But after that situation, I don't imagine he's doing
Yeah,
anything interviewing ever again.
yeah, for sure. Um, last statement. Uh, you brought up First Take. There is another Atlanta adjacent news, and that is they have hired Cam Newton full time. He is a product of Atlanta City Schools. Grew
Hmm.
up here, lives here. He employs people from here to run his podcast. He is going to be, I believe, he has a house here. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Cam live here. He does a
yeah,
camp. He does a football,
he did,
high school football camp here too.
he has a cigar lounge here. I think he's partnered with. Um, Either way, Georgia native, has a lot of businesses and influence here in the city. He's going to be a regular now on First Take, so that should be
Really?
interesting. Yeah, seeing Cam with what's your boy's name? Um,
Skip. Skip.
no, not Skip.
Oh, First Take, Stephen A.
Stephen A. Thank you. Yeah, with Stephen
Skip
A.
is undisputed, right? I think
Yeah,
that's Skip show.
I can't stand Skip Bayless.
That's the show that Julio was on, though. It wasn't
Yeah,
First Take. I said First Take. I think it was undisputed.
yeah, but yeah. Cam Newton out here doing big things with his podcast. If you listen to him, we know you listen to us.
Check us out, man. Check us out.
Oh no, but appreciate all y'all listening. Like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. The Players Ball Pod. Players Ball Pod on TikTok and Instagram.
Well done.
No extra characters, nothing, just Players Ball Pod. Appreciate all the love and support. Do us a favor if you like our content, help us out with the algorithm, give us that thumbs up, give us a comment, help us reach the rest of ATLiens out there, and we'll see you on another one.
Catch you on the flip.
Peace.